Good evening and thanks for watching the news with me, Eric Nsikiti. First, the headlines. President Lazarus Chakwera worried with rising fertilizer prices as the Farmers Union warns the prices are a recipe for hunger. 5 heads of state and Deputy Prime Minister of Lesotho, Mathubeli Mokoti, have arrived in the country for the first SADC summit. In other news, communities in Monkey Bay, Mangochi threaten unspecified action over land shortage issues. We also have the latest in international news. Please do stay with us. In our first story this evening, President Lazarus Chakwera is worried with the sharp rise in fertilizer prices. State House Director of Communications Sean Kampondeni has told journalists. Taunga Sabola reports.
The remarks from State House come at a time the price of the soil-enriching commodity has hit 40,000 kwacha per 50 kilogram bag, thereby threatening the flagship affordable input subsidy program. Kampondeni said Chakwera has been engaging Minister of Agriculture Robin Lowe, officials from the Agriculture Development and Marketing Corporation ADMAC, and other stakeholders in the industry to find a quick solution to the rising fertilizer prices.
The President is looking forward to finding solutions to this, and he is working on the same and is making progress, but he does need the cooperation of all the stakeholders in this matter. But ultimately, the President is driven by only one thing. He is driven by his commitment to serve the Malawian farmers, especially those who are the poor of the poorest, who cannot afford the current pricing of the fertilizer. In
July this year, government announced that it had trimmed the number of AIP beneficiaries from the initial 3.7 million to 2.8 million, leaving at least 1 million vulnerable people to fend for themselves at the higher price. Farmers Union of Malawi President Frighton Njolomole recently observed that many Malawians will not afford to buy a bag of fertilizer this year. In its monetary policy report for July 2021, released last week, the Reserve Bank of Malawi predicted that fertilizer prices are expected to continue increasing in the second half, which will result in deteriorating terms of trade in the short to medium term.
Meanwhile, the Farmers Union of Malawi has warned of hunger next year if the government fails to do anything on the rising fertilizer prices. The union's president, Frighton Njolomole, says the current fertilizer prices are a recipe for poor harvest. Sam Kalimira is in Mzuzu.
A spot check in the 3 regions of the country indicates that the price of a 50 kilogram bag NPK fertilizer is being sold at between 36,500 and 40,000. But Njolomole said the government should not wait for farmers to go into the streets and protest against the fertilizer prices, adding the issue needs urgent attention.
We are actually seeing hunger looming next year. Nothing else definitely helping us to actually do something, because I don't think farmers can actually go out in their large multitudes or doing some demonstrations. No, we cannot do that. But what we are saying is government must actually come in and assist us. Price is just too high.
He said it is sad to note that fertilizer prices are exorbitant, though the government is encouraging irrigation farming, which is currently in progress in most areas. But Minister of Agriculture spokesperson Gresham Lungu said the government is exploring other means to ensure that food security programs are not disturbed by the rising prices of fertilizer. Lungu said the ministry is aware that farming is the backbone of the country's economy, hence it is engaging the Ministry of Trade on how best to resolve the problem.
We intensified a number of activities like helping the farmers to at least make the organic manure, not necessarily depending much on the inorganic fertilizer. So we are also trying to work hand in hand with the Ministry of Trade to engage the suppliers or those traders who are selling fertilizers to just make sure that we come together and find a lasting solution to the challenges the farmers are facing in regards to the rising cost of fertilizers.
Recently, Minister of Trade Sosten Gwengwe said inflation is currently a global challenge brought by COVID-19 pandemic.
5 heads of state and Deputy Prime Minister of Lesotho, Matubeli Mokoti, have arrived in the country for the first SADC summit. Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan, South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa, Emmerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, Andre Rajoelina of Madagascar, and Botswana's Mongwetsi Masisi arrived in the country for the summit through Kamuzu International Airport in Lilongwe on Monday. Audrey Kaparamula reports.
President of Mozambique, Filipe Nyusi, who is also chairperson of SADC, is expected to arrive on Tuesday morning. Nyusi is also expected to hand over the leadership of the regional body today to President Lazarus Chakwera. Other delegates who have also arrived in the country include Namibia's Vice President Nangolo Mbumba and Deputy Prime Minister of Lesotho, Matubeli Mokoti. Under Masisi's chairmanship of SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation, SADC recommended for the standby force mission to combat terrorist acts of violence and extremism in the area of Cabo Delgado. Speaking on arrival at Kamuzu International Airport, Masisi says he expects to get an update on the security issues in Mozambique.
The motivation level that I left was very high, and the other collaborating force that Mozambique has invited, the Rwandese, as you know, who came first, had actually registered some successes in the place of deployment.
Republic of South Africa is expected to take over the chairmanship of the organ.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says presidential election results in Zambia would not affect the country's attendance at the SADC summit. Officials say this is because President Edgar Lungu did not confirm he will personally attend the summit. This comes after opposition candidate Hakainde Hichilema was declared the winner in the presidential race. Matthews Kasanda has more from Lilongwe.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Rejoice Shumba says Zambia might have not confirmed its attendance because of the elections. Shumba says the Zambian High Commissioner to Malawi is representing the country. She was quick to add that Lungu is still that country's president until the winner is sworn in. Shumba also said the billboard carrying Lungu's face will still remain flying during the summit since he remains the president for the time being.
The High Commissioner of Zambia to Malawi is the one that will represent the Republic of Zambia at the summit.
Reports indicate that Hichilema got about 2.8 million votes, triumphing over Lungu, who got about 1.8 million votes. Malawi is hosting the SADC summit, which started on 9th August and will end on 19th August 2021.
And as SADC heads of state and government arrive in Malawi for the regional ordinary summit, hospitality firm Umodzi Park has committed to quality services. Umodzi Park owns the President's Hotel, Bingu International Convention Center, BICC, and the Presidential Villas in the capital Lilongwe. The summit will be held at the BICC. Ron Maligita is Umodzi Park General Manager.
As a hotel, we are very, very prepared. We started with committee meetings, security, accommodation, transport, with the government officials. So far, everything is moving on well. We haven't had any issue. We are almost halfway through it. And since we started, the arrival of the presidents, everything is moving on fine.
Now, some people from Monkey Bay in Mangochi have threatened to take unspecified action if government keeps on ignoring them on a land claim. The people claim that government officials did not live up to their promise of relocating them after their land was used to build government structures. Isaac Salima has the story.
Monkey Bay was some years developed into a rural growth center through a local development project that the Malawi government, with support from African Development Bank, was implementing. A 13-hectare land in the area was earmarked to be used to construct public structures in regard to the project. According to some papers of agreement that we have seen, some locals who owned the land were asked to surrender it to the government with a promise that they would be given another land. The people surrendered the land to the project, where some structures like a magistrate court, sub-district council offices and other buildings were constructed. However, almost 8 years later, the people claim are yet to be given the land. Chinkwita Bulirani is a spokesperson for the group.
We're in the plan of starting to drop the press. But unfortunately, the government, through the LGF, with the DC's office, came to us and told us that we are not supposed to do anything at that the press that were given to us. Instead, the government is planning to put up some structures, the government offices. Now then, we were promised that we will be given another land somewhere else. But from that time up to then, nothing has been done. So we are here now complaining.
The people, about 20 in number, say they have taken the issue to their chiefs and government officials, but have not been assisted.
We have negotiated, we have sat down for a long time, but nothing is being achieved. We are being deceived. So the issue now, I can see that the issue now is getting out of hand. Now our plan is, the government has failed to give us the land and even to compensate us. So what we are planning is, we are giving an ultimatum of about a month.
Mangoje District Lands Officer Sylvester Maloney said they are aware of the issue and they will be meeting to discuss how to best address it.
Governance experts have cautioned the Anti-Corruption Bureau on its plans to conduct lifestyle audits of public servants to recover proceeds of crime. The experts warn the exercise could be costly. ACB has partnered with the Directorate of Public Prosecutions and the Financial Intelligence Authority to conduct the audit. Feston Manegezo reports.
At a briefing last week in Lilongwe, ACB Director Martha Jizuma said, among others, the strategy is part of an interagency effort to ensure the state does not lose out on the assets due to prolonged wait for verdicts in criminal court cases. But commenting on the live audit exercise, Africa Institute for Corporate Citizenship Chief Executive Officer Felix Lombe says much as the audit is a very pragmatic solution, ACB must be very careful because there are just few countries that have embraced it. Lombe is of the view that strengthening the current prosecution systems could be a better option as opposed to jumping into something new.
We have to be very, very careful because there are just very few countries that have done that. And mostly those countries that have done that are countries that, are highly connected. Their transactions can be traced in the bank, and because even their payments are always, online, or either by swapping. We do not have that in Malawi. There will be a lot of speculation, a lot of suspicion, and it may breed a very unhealthy environment.
Another governance expert, Matthias Kafunda, starts by saying there is need for a strong framework for conducting lifestyle audits for its effective implementation. Kafunda says lifestyle audits are useful in that they identify assets and goods, allowing authorities to freeze or sequester them while a full investigation is conducted, which increases the possibility of stolen assets being recovered. Yet, despite the potential value of using lifestyle audits to curb corruption, Kafunda says there remains several challenges. Among others, Kafunda says undertaking comprehensive lifestyle audits, especially of large numbers of public officers, is often considered impractical and resource-intensive for an anti-corruption agency. He therefore cautioned ACB to consider knowing how this will be effective for Malawi.
Vision TTV will be back shortly after this break.
Munthu mmodzi payekha sangamange mudzi, koma anthu angapo kubwera pamodzi timati uwu nde mudzi. Pamodzi tili ndi kuthekera kobweretsa chitukuko mdera lathu. network yathu ya Malawi ya TNM yakhala ikuthandiza madera ambiri mu njira zosiyanasiyana. Komano pano TNM ikufuna kupitiriza ntchitoyi mogwirizana ndi ife eni ake amudzi. Ndi nkani yabweretsa TNM mudzi wathu. Mukagwiritsa ntchito TNM poimba foni, kutumiza ma SMS, kugwiritsa ntchito internet, kapena kugwiritsa ntchito mpamba, chaka chilichonse TNM idzipereka 1% kapena 1 kwacha pa 100 kwacha iliyonse ya ndalama zomwe yapanga kuti ithandizire pa chitukuko chomwe anthu akufuna mdera lawo. Tikabwera pamodzi ndi kugwirizana chimodzi, tikhoza kupanga zazikulu m'mudzi wathu. TNM mudzi wathu. Umodzi unamanga mtolo. Ndondomeko zidzatsatidwa.
I choose to be smart. I choose to live a simple and easy life. I choose not to line up to pay my bills. This is why I go digital. Jump the queue. Pay your Lilongwe Water Board bills through mobile banking. Or you can pay through mobile money, as I always do. You can also check your water bill and balance by simply dialing *253#. With digital payments, you can save time and money. Be smart. Pay your bills on time.
Lilongwe Water Board. Lilongwe Water Board. Portable water all the time for all.
Welcome back, and still in the news, local non-governmental organization, Concerned Youth Organization and Blantyre City Council are monitoring standards in various places within the city. The visits are aimed at ensuring effective service delivery by the council. Thomas Kajere was part of one of the visits and has more from downtown Blantyre.
Concerned Youth Organization CYO Executive Director Harvey Chimaliro says this is an ongoing exercise where duty bearers will be engaged.
The impression is there, but not 100%, because of course there is some slight change, improvement from 2 months ago where we visited some similar places, and like in Kachere we see normally on daily basis. So we can see that at least there is a slight improvement in terms of refuse collection, like at Maketa Market and at Kachere where there is refuse skip. However, there is need for an improvement, further improvement in terms of waste management and even responding to other areas or issues that has been highlighted or raised by the community.
The team held brief meetings with market chairpersons and committee members and also physically inspected the premises to appreciate challenges faced by the markets that need the city council's attention. Key issues noted were toilets that are below standards and unfavorable points for slaughtering animals. Sekera Kayange is Assistant Administrative Officer for Blantyre City Council and has accepted that there are a number of gaps, but assured the people that the council has plans to improve the situation.
We have seen gaps so far at both Kachere Market and the Maketa Market. The city have got plans in place to improve the livelihood of the vendors and all traders in these two markets. For instance, as you have seen at Kachere Market, the council is building the brick wall fence. This will help to enhance the security of the market.
Other organizations present when inspecting Maketa and Kachere markets include Wildlife and Environmental Society of Malawi, Sustainable Development Initiative, and Youth Active Initiative Organization.
In international news, as the United States continues to pull its embassy staff from Kabul, Afghanistan, the Biden administration is defending its withdrawal from the war-torn country, while critics say the U.S. departure may create a humanitarian crisis and a haven for extremists. Michelle Quinn reports.
Scenes from Kabul ricochet around the world as the U.S. continues to remove its personnel and as the Taliban insurgents are poised to take control of Afghanistan. The Biden administration defended its decision to leave the country after 20 years, even if it didn't expect the Taliban to advance as quickly as they have done.
The president made the determination that it was time to end this war for the United States, to get out of the middle of a civil war in Afghanistan, and to make sure that we were looking at our interests across the world, around the world, and that we were set up to advance those interests. That's what we're doing.
Some Republican lawmakers are not only criticizing the Biden administration, they also blame the administration of former President Donald Trump for its decision to fully withdraw from Afghanistan by May of 2021, a deadline that President Joe Biden pushed back to August. Critics have also said that the current administration's handling of the withdrawal is a black eye for the U.S. on the international stage. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell released a statement Sunday saying terrorists and adversaries are watching the embarrassment of a superpower laid low.
It is going to have ramifications not just for Afghanistan, not just for us in Afghanistan, not just for the war on terror, but globally for America's role in the world, the extent to which America's adversaries know they can threaten us, and our allies are questioning this morning whether they can count on us for anything.
Secretary Blinken says the fear is searing that the Taliban, which ruled the country starting in 1996 with an Islamist fundamentalist government until its ouster in 2001, will again impose strict rules for women and others. But it's up to the international community to help the people of Afghanistan, he says, and ultimately in the Taliban's self-interest to pursue a government that upholds basic rights.
If they don't, and if they're in a position of power, and they don't do that, then I think Afghanistan will become a pariah state.
7 out of 10 Americans backed Biden's withdrawal decision, according to a poll by the Chicago Council on Global Affairs in July. Whether scenes of a rapid Taliban takeover of the capital will change Americans' support for the president's plan remains to be seen. Michelle Quinn, VOA News.
And that's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines again. President Lazarus Chakwera worried with rising fertilizer prices as the Farmers Union warns the prices are a recipe for hunger. 5 heads of state and Deputy Prime Minister of Lesotho, Matuberi Mokoti, have arrived in the country for the 41st SADC Summit. In other news, communities in Monkey Bay, Mangochi threaten unspecified action over land shortage issues. You've been with me, Eric Nsigiti, but remember you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page Times 360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times 360 Malawi. Good evening.